am here with Representative Yasmin Ansari from Arizona. Welcome to Cap Talk.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into it. So you are the youngest female member of Congress.
Yes.
What is the biggest advantage to your age?
You know, so there's not a lot of young people in Congress, so I think being connected to so many of the issues that are important right now, housing, climate change, that makes a big difference.
So there are protests that have been taking place in Los Angeles in response to the ICE raids. What is your message to the protesters?
My message is thank you for being out there. It is really important for these protests to be peaceful, which they largely have been. But what this administration is doing in regard to immigration is outrageous. ICE is completely overreaching. They're going after immigrants from all different backgrounds, and in many cases, I've visited an ICE detention center, and the conditions have been horrific. So I'm really grateful that people are speaking out against this administration's policies.
You know, you mentioned it was mostly peaceful, but what about the violence that has taken place?
I think unfortunately there's people who always try to co-opt important movements and conversations. In every protest movement this has happened, those people are not there for this reason. They're there to cause chaos.
Now, word on the street is you are a very big Swifty.
Oh yes, I am.
Do you have a fellow Swifty in Congress that you bond with over this?
Yeah, actually, Sarah McBride is a big Swifty. That's the one I think of. We bonded over this at new member orientation back in November.
A favorite song?
I love so many, but I love All Too Well, 10-minute version.
Oh, wow. That's a real commitment.
Yes. LOML in this album, TTPD, and then I Can Do It With a Broken Heart.
Your parents immigrated from Iran.
They did.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about Iran that Americans have?
Ooh, there's so many. Well, first of all, thanks for saying Iran and not Iran.
No problem. I try to be accurate in my pronunciations.
I think the biggest misconception broadly is the difference between the regime and the people. The people of Iran largely are not only secular, but they are desperate for a free country, a democracy, basic human rights. They don't have that. This is a regime that took power in 1979. They're authoritarian, theocratic, don't want to give women rights, no rights for LGBTQ people, etc. But the government is vastly different from the people. And I think that distinction is really important.
So why is it that they've been able to maintain power if so many of the people are really effectively against them?
Honestly, it's because they kill people and imprison people. A couple of years ago, there was one of the biggest protest movements ever. It was called the Women Life Freedom Movement, where it was a women-led uprising after the murder of a 22-year-old girl, Mahsa Amini. The regime literally imprisoned 18,000 people, killed hundreds. I mean, they were throwing acid into women's eyes, and many women went blind over it. So they quell the opposition violently.
I hear that there is a drink named after you at a bar in Arizona.
Yes.
The Yasmini Martini?
It's so good.
What is it?
It's an espresso martini. It's at a really cool place called Valley Bar, which is a local small business, and all of the drinks are named after local politicians.
Democratic messaging has been hit or miss. How are Democrats doing these days?
I think we're doing well. I think that a lot of young, new, fresh, bold leaders are emerging. I think we're learning to communicate in different places.
Speaking of the big, beautiful bill, is there anything in there that you think, hey, it's not so bad?
So I just met with some tribes this morning, and they were pointing out to me that for tribal nations, there are some good provisions in there and protections for them. So I think that's great. And they're having a good working relationship with the new Secretary of the Interior, which I also think is great. But largely speaking, I think there's nothing in there that overshadows the fact that
Capital tree involvement in this interview.
There's nothing that overshadows healthcare being ripped away from 15 million people. This is unimaginable. The impact that the cuts to Medicaid and Medicare will have on access to healthcare on top of the 15 million people who are losing insurance is going to be devastating. So that's unacceptable.
Anything else your constituents, you're like, I wish people knew this about me?
I think just people knowing that your elected officials are people and, human, and I'm in this because I'm so passionate about issues that are affecting my generation. But through it all, me and my team, we have a really young, diverse team, and we try to like laugh and get through it with humor. And so having a sense of humor is just really important to me and a big part of my personality.
All right, well, this was Cap Talk. Jackie Koppell for NewsNation and The Hill. Thank you so much.
Thanks.